comfortable, because we talked about that last night, and that doesn't say this here. So, Mike, did you put this, or to the president, is this something you put specifically in, or was it put in by oversight because we talked about something different last time?
So to Michael King, council staff, to provide some context as to where this language comes from and how it operates, I think, you know, the administration's proposal to fund the construction of a new campus was intended as part and parcel with the purchase of the property to be funded by the sales and use tax. And I think the intent
Proposed,
of this,
right?
Proposed, yes.
Okay, thank you.
The intent of the sponsor of this proposed substitute, and I'll let them speak for themselves as well, I think was to basically say, if we were to move forward with the purchase of this property, then the administration's proposed funding source should be a contingency on that purchase. To be clear about what this proposed substitute actually does, it does not commit the county to using the sales and use tax for this purpose. It merely says that the administration only has the authority to purchase the property if the sales and use tax is extended before the end of the option period. If at a future date, the county council, the administration, identify another source or sources that could be used to fund this project, there is nothing in this legislation that would preclude the use of alternative funds for that purpose.
And through the chair to Mike, I'm far from anywhere near close to having a subject matter expert as you do. But if this legislation, as written, this legislation right here can only be funded by the sales tax, and we get another chunk of ARPA out of the blue, right? The administration could be precluded by saying you can't buy this because it says this. Is that maybe right?
That is correct to the extent that if the county does not extend the sales and use tax, then this legislation, unless amended or the topic were revisited, would restrict the ability for the administration to purchase the property, to exercise the option.
That's just the little curveballs at the end, and the words, not curveball, the revelation, I'll call it, and the word only got me stuck a little bit here.
Understood.
So thank you.
If I may, I just want to make one additional point of clarification, and I think the law director touched on this, and I know there are differences of opinion on this council, but just for the sake of clarity, I want to make it clear that this proposed substitute sets guardrails, they're parameters for what the administration can do. So when we're talking about non-refundability of option deposits, the amount of money, timeframes, these are all outer bounds. This legislation was, negotiated and worked with our law department to make sure that the county retains the maximum flexibility possible to negotiate with the seller. I think it's in the interest of everyone here to make sure that the county gets the best deal possible, whatever that may be. And so the proposed substitute was drafted with that in mind. It sets those outer bounds, but if our team here at the county can negotiate a better deal, this proposed substitute is not intended to inhibit their ability to do so. But ultimately, as Councilman Tron indicated earlier, it does not, nothing is guaranteed, especially when we're negotiating with a seller at arm's length.
Thank you very much. Just hearing the comments from our chief of staff in regards to on behalf of our county executive, moving forward, inching a little bit closer to trying to take care of the atrocity that's our current jail over there. And the original piece of legislation, my recommendation or my suggestion to my council president, up or down. If it doesn't, we go with this one, and then we keep trying to be productive here. So I'm just stuck on that only sales tax. So thank you for letting me chat, and if I come up with something else, I'll let you know.
Mr. President?
If Councilwoman, before, I think what I'm hearing, and clarify if I'm wrong, right now we're looking to vote, and for the administration to purchase, it will require this body to vote on the funding
Substitute.
source, or substitute, yeah.
Mr. President, I have a substitute.
I'm sorry, one moment, Councilwoman. Regardless of where the monies would come from, this body would still have to vote. Am I correct? That if the money came from any other source, state, federal, anywhere, this body would still have to vote. regardless of where the mechanism comes from. So they're not precluded from bringing a source, but they will always come back to this body, regardless of where the money comes from. So that's not precluded from that happening, right?
That's correct, Council President. I will say, if another funding source were identified from some other governmental or other revenue source, the council would ultimately, it's the budgetary authority of the county, so would have to appropriate and allocate money for the purpose of building a jail. To purchase this specific site, the council would likely also need to take some type of legislative action to either amend or update this resolution to authorize the closing on that site if we were to move forward. What this proposed substitute does is it essentially says council approves the purchase of the site contingent upon the passage of the proposed funding source that the administration has put forth. But you are correct. There is nothing that would preclude the county council from authorizing the future exercise of an option on this site or the outright purchase of this site if another funding source were identified and the council deemed that sufficient to construct the new jail facility.
And so they can seek any and all funding sources. Okay. Councilwoman Simon.
Just want to bring back our original legislation for the transport site was combined funding source to build the jail as well as acquisition of the property. For some reason, the executive divided these into two separate pieces, which renders this, I believe, a bit reckless. And that's what's different about this now, too, is it's just uncommon to disconnect the purchase for the purpose of building a jail without a funding source. So I just wanted to say that at this point, I would like to move the substitute Resolution 2023-01A2 that's in front of us to authorize an option to purchase. Do I have a second? Through the president.
Properly moved and seconded. We can continue the discussion. Is there any further discussion, questions, or comments? If not, we're going to have a roll call.
Calling the roll on the proposed substitute, Mr. Shrine,
No.
Ms. Conwell,
Yes.
Ms. Turner,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Ms. Simon,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
No.
Mr. Sweeney,
No.
Mr. Tuma,
No.
Mr. Gallagher, Council President Jones.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Right. The second public hearing will be held this evening during the council meeting at 5 p.m. For ordinance number 02023-0012 and 0203-013 in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code.
Mr. President,
Councilman.
even though I didn't support the substitute, I think it's better than nothing. And therefore, I'm going to make a motion to refer the legislation as substituted to the full council for second reading suspension.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. That's progress. All right. Madam Clerk, where are we now?
We're breathing.
Now we're ready for executive session.
All right, thank you. All meetings of the Cuyahoga County Council are open to the public under the Ohio Open Meetings laws. Under that law, council may go into executive session during a meeting for specifically authorized purposes. During executive session, council confers outside of the hearing of the public. Council may not make any decisions about any matters in executive session. All decisions are made in public. This afternoon, the council will go into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending or imminent litigation. During this time, our live stream will be down, and we ask all those not specifically needed for the executive session to remain in council chambers. Council members will convene in the adjacent Committee Room A and will re-enter the meeting once the executive session has ended. Is there a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending or imminent litigation?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll to go into executive session?
Calling the roll for executive session, Mr. Schrein? Ms. Conwell? Ms. Turner?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Ms. Simon?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Tuma?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher? And Council President Jones.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ayes have it. We will adjourn the meeting for an executive session. officially back on the record. At this time, Andrea, would you read or Janine, would you read into the record the final two items?
Ordinance number 2023-0012, amending and codifying Board of County Commissioners Resolution number 2007-073101, dated July 26, 2007, and enacting new Chapter 727, Section 727.01 of the Cuyahoga County Code to change the period of time during which the county sales tax shall be levied at the aggregate rate of 1 1/4%. And ordinance number 2023-0013, amending and codifying Board of County Commissioners Resolution number 2007-073102, dated July 26, 2007, and enacting new Chapter 727, Section 727.02 of the County Code to change the period of time during which the county use tax shall be levied at the aggregate rate of 1 1/4%.
This time, we will have a roll call on our two court. Oh. Thank you. Hold 1 second. Andrea, where are we right now? You just read the last two into the record.
Yes, Mr. President, do you all want to make a motion to refer these items out of committee?
3 items? 2 items.
The two items, the two ordinances.
So we just want to move the sales tax items out of this committee of the whole into the full council?
Yes.
I can move those out.
Yeah, so you're making that motion.
Could I ask for a clarification? The last item that we moved on before taking a break, that was moved out of committee with a second reading suspension on it?
Yes.
Why wouldn't these also fall into that category, either up or down?
They should.
Okay, so I add on with a second reading suspension first.
correct.
Okay, wait.
You're correct. Second reading suspension.
To make a motion just to move them out, so we'll go to the council meeting at 5 o'clock with a recommendation for suspension, second reading.
That is correct.
You need a second.
Councilman
committee of
Strawn
the
is
whole
correct.
right now.
They are at 5 o'clock. You will see them on the agenda as listed under second reading suspension. So to move them out, Councilman Strawn is correct.
So you need
So
a
she has
second?
made the motion. Is there a
To
second?
move them out.
Seconded by Councilman Scott Tuma. All in favor, say aye.
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 For second reading suspension.
Aye.
Okay, so if I don't hear any dissension, so all in favor, say aye. So we're good. Opposed?
Wait, there seems to be some questions before we
Yes.
vote.
Please, if you have a question.
Do we have any need for clarification from? Me too. And I'm-
Yeah, just can I get an explanation, what are we doing?
So here's
I know
what
you said
happened.
this 3 times.
Here's what happened. The clerk, Janine, Andrea, read all 3 items into the record at the start of our conversation. When it was time to make the motion was made, but it didn't capture all 3. It just captured the Craig Realty piece. So when we moved out, we forgot the fact that we left these these last 2 items in that last motion that we made. So we went to executive session. Now we're back, realizing we've sent out the purchase agreement, but had left the last 2 in committee. So we're doing the logistics of moving the last 2 items onto the committee, to full council at 5 o'clock.
For a vote tonight on
Yes,
the count, on the,
Yes, the
On
votes
everything.
are
All 3.
for August 1st to today. Yeah.
The only difference between the first vote and these 2 votes is the first vote was done by a roll call. This one was done as a non-roll call, but that's okay. We'll get our roll call opportunity, I believe, when we come into the session this evening on all 3 of these pieces of legislation.
Okay. So that's correct. Have we completed the work? Any?
Yes, I did hear the vote. I did hear the vote, yes.
Yes. Is there any further discussion? Scott, you have the floor.
you know what? I think I'm good. Thank you.
Councilman Kelly, I see? Oh, you good. Okay. Yeah, we just didn't catch it before we left out. So it was just the homework, the due diligence of getting all of the items out of committee. All right. Well, again, if there's no further questions, we're going to adjourn, and we will begin promptly at 5 o'clock.
You did vote, yes. You
We
a
did
voice
vote. We
yes.
did vote. Okay. Any miscellaneous business? No. Again, our meeting is adjourned. We will begin at